Hey, what's going on, peeps? This is your man, Derek Terry, host of I'm Not Complaining. I'm just saying where you're going to complain. Bring some solutions to the table. Hey, welcome to episode 2. Yeah, I believe this is episode 2. And my special guest today is going to be Carlos Childs, a community activist, among other things. And we're going to be here to really discuss the 2023 Charles County legislative proposals. We're not going to go through everyone, or we'll try, and we're just going to provide our insight. Some of them we will agree, and some of them we will actually disagree, or we might find a common ground. But stay tuned. We'll be back, and hope you enjoy the show. Hey y'all, welcome back. As I told you, we have the man, the legend, all the other stuff, Carlos Childs. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Always glad to be here. I've been here in a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. We definitely not gonna spend 2-3 hours like my man Ricky. So we're gonna try to get this knocked out in about an hour or less. But
okay. In time for you to go to bed.
Yeah, about that. So, before we get started, real quick, tell us what you've been up to.
Yes. Well, new job and still doing community activism work. Just completed Citizens Academy for everyone.
Okay.
So I just want to plug that. Thank you. I just want to plug that real quick. Definitely go out there and you really get to learn about Charles County, learn about what the different community groups do, things like that. So it's really, really cool. We went to the landfill. I learned about the roads. Yeah, you learn about some really cool things. Other than that, just still keeping up with the craziness of the county as always.
Hey, that's why we're here. Hey, just a disclaimer for those who will be seeing this. We tape this at about 8 o'clock at night, so I may be drinking something. I got my cranberry juice. I may be eating. So if he's eating, we eating. Y'all be all right.
It's a weekday.
Yeah, y'all be all right. All right, so we are here to discuss not necessarily all the Charles County legislative proposals, but to a degree. I'm not an expert on all this stuff, so some of them I may be like, yeah, whatever, and some of them I'm like, you know what? So we gonna get it on and popping. Let me bring this up. Hopefully,
I'm excited for it.
Oh man, where'd it go?
Okay. A lot of them are the same thing generally.
Yeah, hold up. Charles County. Bear with me. Charles County. Oop. Zoom quit. The world. We still on, right?
Yeah, we're still on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me email it to you.
It gave me a message talking about Zoom. Don't ask me again. Okay. There. Okay. It actually went out, so it came back. I don't know what happened.
Wow.
Hey, what happened? You dealing with technology? It happens like that.
There you go.
But as I'm bringing this up, real quick, give us a summary of the purpose of the legislative proposals.
So the purpose of the legislative proposals for everybody listening is, one, so that the public has an opportunity to tell the commissioners in Charles County what they want to see them do legislatively. It can be from what you want done with the roads to what you want done on taxes to what you want. If you want to say the government should plant a tree at every third intersection and name it Tony, you can come up and do that. The main purpose is to get people to, one, tell their legislators what the temperature is of the community too, because if you're going to put up a bill to them, obviously you're experiencing something. And then second is to push them on legislation. Now, this was just the first part, was the proposals. There'll be a following meeting that there's going to be where all of the commissioners are going to sit down. It'll be open public meeting and openly discuss proposal by proposal, each one, and then have a vote to whether they move forward on one, direct staff to look at another, or they just say, thank you for your time and go home. So yeah, that was the gist of it.
All right. Well, definitely thank you for that. I've been to maybe one or two in my lifetime here, but it seems like every time that I want to go, I end up having a schedule conflict.
You miss out on the fun.
Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen. Hopefully everybody can see that. Only because when I tried to print it out, it came up a little bit too small for my eyes.
Yep.
So I'm hoping, okay, I'm doing it. So, and for those who happen to see these names, look, it's public record. So it's not like, I didn't black out the names. Their addresses, I believe, are blacked out. So if you say, I don't know why you showed their name, because you go on the website and this is exactly what you're gonna see. So
also give these people a little bit of credit for the policy that they put up.
Yeah. It don't mean I'm agree with it, but you're out there. So what we gonna do, we just gonna go, we'll go to the first one. Some of these kind of like, man, it's still small. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it. I think they're all just gonna be small.
All right. So the first one deals with, actually, I got my paper right here. Feral cat rescue. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I have no idea what a feral cat rescue
Yes,
is.
you do. Yes, you do know what a feral cat is the cats that you just see outside to the wild. That just
stray cats?
Yeah, stray cat. I think it's stray cats. That's what I assume.
And basically we want to have a rescue. And where would they go?
It's kind of like so what they want to do is kind of like have it so if people catch stray cats, normally they take it to a shelter, and what they want the shelters to do is to TNR them, so I guess like spay them and then clip their ear so people know, hey, this is a cat that can't reproduce, and then put it back to where they originally were, because I think right now the county's either just saying, hey, somebody come and adopt it, or just and calling it a day for the cat.
Oh, but in the meantime, they're gonna go ahead and just put them out of reproduction commission.
And then put it back to where it was and let it
and then
do
put
its
it
thing.
back. And I'm assuming that the shelter is supposed to be this $7-8 million shelter that's to be continued.
To be continued.
but we can't find one for the homeless, huh? Okay.
That's depressing.
So, I don't have a stake in this one. I have to say, hey, I commend the person for putting it up, and I don't see anything wrong with it. So
I thought it was a cool thing. I mean, hey, cool thing.
We're gonna move on to the next one. The next one is allocation of state matching or earmarked funds for county nonprofits. So I did see a couple of.
Oh, you missed the litter control one.
I did.
Yeah, skip one.
I told you this thing is small. Litter.
That one right there.
Yeah, there we go. My bad. Sorry about that, Mr. Rouse. If I pronounce your name wrong,
that's why I don't pronounce people's names.
But litter control. Oh yes, I did look over this, and I have an issue with litter bugs as well. I'm thinking you can't be that lazy to where you can't put stuff in the trash can. You just can't be.
That is true.
You can't be. And the only thing is the solution. If with the dash cams, we should be able to a degree, be able to turn that footage over to law enforcement. And if they catch you or there's footage, yeah, you should be prosecuted or fined, whatever. You find somebody a couple G's, they'll stop littering.
Oh yeah, dang, that's a lot for littering.
Hey,
I mean,
I bet you. You go to some of these foreign countries and see how much litter they have. Some of them have a lot, and some of them have very little.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, isn't it like Japan or something that has like almost no litter on the streets? But that's a whole thing. So my thing with this bill is I think it's gonna be really hard to actually have people do it, because I think you can have somebody take a picture and what appears to be you littering. Do we know that that's you littering? If you just see somebody like getting into their car and then a trash bag next to their car, does that mean they did it, or that they pulled over next to someone who the bag that was already there? I think it's hard to prove. Like I get the intent. I just don't see it actually working out.
But here's the interesting part about this bill. Mm-hmm. If you look at the last line, it said fines assessed for these violations criminal code shall be shared with the Maryland resident submitting the claim with the resident receiving a reward of 50% of the total fine. Man, I'll be catching anybody. Shoot.
Right. Let's see people's careers change a little bit.
Yeah, your fine is 1,000. I get 500. So I kind of agree with you. I'm not gonna. It's not a bad bill, but it's gonna be very difficult to enforce. And how do we? We have to be able to utilize our resources accordingly, especially in the Waldorf area. And I say good luck with it.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if the 50% reward is gonna be. I'm saying if you turn somebody in, you turn them in.
Yeah. Well, my other thing is too, is that I feel like you could get to some of them situations where you have people, and maybe it's just older people who might do this, is sit out on their porch and just put a camera and wait, and then somebody drive by, they taking pictures, and then you got somebody yelling at somebody's grandma talking about who you taking pictures of.
Yeah, I need some casino money for tonight, so I'm gonna go ahead and snap this, and that check will be in the mail.
Right.
So, all right, so we go to the next one. And like I mentioned before, there's a couple of these proposals in regards to the allocation of state matching or earmarking funds for county nonprofits. I really think it comes down to some people, and they may have a valid point, that the funds that the charitable trusts are disseminating aren't done in an equitable way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes and no. It's hard. I don't make the decisions when it comes to who gets the money. Now, what I do agree with, well, I don't even know that's part of it, that no county employee that has a nonprofit should receive any of these funds. You could go operate in another county with your nonprofit, but no employee should receive, or elected official as well, but they're considered employees, should receive any funds from the charitable trust.
I'll actually go further than that. I don't think even your immediate family of an elected official should be able to do anything. And I don't think any elected official should be any elected official or family member of an elected official should be able to serve on the Charles County Charitable Trust either. Because I know that some of the people who have served before were elected officials during the time of serving. I feel like, one, that already sets up a horrible kind of dynamic of, I'm an elected official, so I have hands in all these different pockets, and now I'm going to give money. I decide what nonprofits are going to get money to.
Yeah. Well, technically, they're not supposed to, but they're supposed to recuse themselves, I'm assuming, when it comes to a nonprofit that's quote unquote directly or indirectly linked to them. But we know that hasn't happened.
Right.
So
I mean, who was it? I think Bill Dotson, during the whole thing, the whole kind of proposals hearing, he mentioned he's on the Charles County Charitable Trust. I think just being, whenever you're elected or you have a high position of power or a very public presence too, I think putting you on certain boards needs to be just looked at, because you can get into the thing of, are you using any kind of bias towards who gets the money because of just what you do normally?
I somewhat disagree with that, and the reason being because someone can tell you, oh, I'm totally fair, and you don't know the backstory behind it. And my thing, as long as they have not done anything illegal, unethical, then I'm cool with it. And maybe some nonprofits are more deserving for whatever reason. But should they all receive the same amount every year? That's a question that needs to be answered by either the commissioners or the charitable trust, because you do have a rise in nonprofits, and as we have a rise in nonprofits, to some degree, they do duplicate services. Should they get an opportunity to get funds, say, for year 2, year 4, whatever? Because some of those nonprofits depend on the county funds from the charitable, tax funds from the charitable trust. So,
this was a weird, but also this bill was a little weird too about having it so that the allocation from what they get from the county matches, or the state matches the county, or like the way that they wanted it to work, like enact legislation that directs nonprofit earmarks and additional funding to the Charles County Charitable Trust. This will ensure that support from a wide range of number of nonprofits with growing needs on our community. I think when they were explaining it, what they wanted is all the state money that senators and delegates can like distribute directly to nonprofits. They want all that to go straight to the charitable trust, and the charitable trust dispenses it equally, rather than you be able to go to the county and get money and the state and get
Yeah,
the
but the
exact.
thing is, how do you determine equally? If you have, say, a nonprofit whose operating budget is $200,000 versus somebody who's 10,000, and we give everybody 5,000, the one who's
Yeah.
10,000 is like, hey, I appreciate it.
Right.
The one that's 200 is like,
what do I do with this?
this will
But
pay one person's salary, maybe.
no, you're right. And then but then you also look at it as like the county can't tell the state, hey, you can't give nobody money, give it to us, and then we'll dole it out. And to a point, it's kind of the same kind of issue where I guess the Charles County Charitable Trust may be a little bit more fairer than going through the delegates and senators, maybe, because the delegates and senators, you could have relationships with them and get that way. So I don't know how it can be done perfectly, but I don't agree with the bill as a bill.
Yeah. And not to get too much into the weeds, it's something where, if a lot of people are talking about equity or having some type of equality, whatever it is, when it comes to how the funds are distributed, there's no way you can put a dollar amount, a standard dollar amount. It's either going to have to be a percentage, but I don't know. It's something I'm glad I ain't got to work out.
Right.
So
but my pay grade.
Let's go on to my buddy, Dr. Carla Cornegay. And
I met her in person. She's a really nice person, actually.
And I'm very familiar with the ATVs. I've seen this since I was a kid. The problem with it is that you can't chase them. I believe it's against state law, or maybe you can't chase them. So,
which makes a whole lot of sense too when you factor in
it's safety. But there is a safety factor when they're riding ATVs. They have no lights, no reflectors. I don't stop. I'll be honest with you. I'm trucking. Just me, because it's either my life or your life. And if I
what are you talking? Wait. What are you talking
about? There literally would be there would be an ATV coming directly at me.
Like,
yeah.
Wow.
And I'm going straight, because if I turn to the left, turn to the right, I may hit another car.
Yeah.
So they need to make a decision on what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Because I'm going 40, 50 miles an hour. What do you expect me to do?
Yeah.
That's dangerous. One, you're going against the grain.
Yeah. That's the main illegal. That's number one.
So, and maybe the county needs to, build something, or have, we got some land out here where they can joyride and do things of that nature. But I do agree with the bill. The only thing I probably don't agree with is
the punishments.
Yeah, the punishments. I'm not gonna say they're extreme, but when you look at people who like domestic violence, or I wouldn't, not domestic violence, we would say just assault. They might not even get fines up to 500 or imprisonment in 90 days, or what does it say? In 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
In most cases, somebody does something, they out the next day.
Yeah. No, I mean, even if you go up to this, the first line here that says riders will be charged as much as, no, you're good. You're good. Back down to where you were. The part that says that, riders will be charged with as much as 6 months in jail and $1,000 fine and a 1-year suspension of their license. It's nope, right near the top at where you are now. No, keep the page where it is.
Oh, okay, my bad.
It's just near the top, first line. Where the page is, the first line.
The cost, or right here. Page 4?
The page 4. Yeah. Roads on streets on public or private property in the
Oh
county.
yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Without the owner's consent. But the thing is, how do you catch them?
Yeah.
And once again, we're talking about resources.
Yeah.
It's I can't see the sheriff's department racing down there, but at that time they're gone. They're gone.
Yeah.
And the other
I mean,
thing with HOAs, well, most HOAs I know, they don't allow them to operate in a common area.
no
Now,
roads.
if the HOAs allow them, then that's their prerogative. We don't have the authority to tell another HOA, well, they shouldn't be operating that road, that vehicle. That's pretty much up to them.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, and my
but
question is too for this bill is that
well, here it is. This keep streets. Riders will be charged as much as 30 days in jail, 1,000 fine, and a 30-day suspension of their license after they're caught riding and road a third time. Okay, so a third
yeah,
time.
like when I look at the fines, I look at it, okay, cool. One is who are we targeting for this? Are we because the majority, I believe the majority of people who you see riding ATVs or dirt bikes aren't people who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s. These are probably people in their teens, 20s, maybe pushing 30s.
Yeah, that's
So
usually what I see.
one, why are they riding the AT? Like, do they have another one? Do some of them have another form of transportation, or is that your one form of transportation? Two, is it an issue that there's nowhere for them to ride it? Because I know at one of the commissioner town halls that Commissioner Patterson and Coates had, someone mentioned that we have, I think, like 2 dirt bike areas in the county, but they're privately owned. So those aren't open to the general public, and 9 times out of 10, with the amount of land that you would need, is probably owned by people who don't know the people in the who we're having the problem with
Yeah,
dropping.
but then the other problem, if you were to find, say, some land where they could ride,
Mhm.
most of them wouldn't have the transportation to get the ATV there, and
Yeah,
they
you're
would
right.
end up driving it there illegally.
You're right. So okay, so my thing is, do you think that we will ever be at a point where we could set up a legal system for people to drive ATVs and dirt bikes just how we let them people drive motorcycles and mopeds?
No,
Not on like highways and stuff, but on certain roads you can drive it. Because if you have an ATV, the person has a helmet on and they're driving just like normal a moped would drive down the road, I don't see it as much of a problem. Now, if you have people doing tricks and stuff, yes, I understand that. Other than that,
that's why I say no, because I just can't see them. Oh, I go for a joyride and I won't pop a wheelie,
I mean,
and
motorcycle people do it too.
they're going on these windy roads where they're the blind spots. So I
I
say
mean,
no.
you got motorcycles who do the same thing. They can pop.
Yeah, but not on the windy roads. Very,
Yeah,
very rare on a windy road. But overall, I don't have an issue with the bill. I don't know. I think if they were to change something, it may be the fines in terms of HOA, but
and not the
we
driver's
have to
license,
do
not taking away the driver's license either.
yeah, we have to do something. Yeah. So but okay, it's a good one. So what's next?
I think this is another one about
Oh, this is about the
nonprofit.
Piscataway.
This is a
Oh
nonprofit type.
yeah, it's the same thing.
Mhm.
So I think for this one, what they're saying is that you need to, and you should be. I'm saying if you're giving out monies to a nonprofit or for profit, I'm sorry, this is for profit, then that should be in good standing with the state of Maryland as well as the federal government.
Yeah,
And I'm assuming that based on this, there's been cases where some people have been awarded monies.
I
But
don't know per se. I know the one thing
I'm
that
just assuming only
no, yeah,
because the way it's saying that you need to be in good standing.
the one thing that got me is if you see under solution the third line down, it says compliant with taxes, licenses. Nope, under solution number 8, third
Yeah,
line down.
every
Yeah,
cross. Okay.
compliant with taxes, licenses, and in child support arrears.
And then it says etc. And I'm like, okay.
What do you mean? Like, so is the business not in standing with child
Yeah,
support?
I don't think the business. But if you have a business, your child support isn't necessarily attached to it. It's under a
Yeah,
you can't.
it's an individual.
Yeah, because I saw that too, and I was like, okay, unless you're talking about an individual, yeah, I can see. But
Individuals don't get money.
most of the time the individual, and I could be wrong, their business is under an LLC or whatever. It's not necessarily under their name, although they may be the owner. I don't know how child support works, but if you're talking about a business with 10, 15, 20 employees, I don't see how child support has anything to do with this particular one unless you're talking about one individual. But I could be wrong.
I mean, but also piggybacking off what you said, if this is about money going towards a nonprofit or for-profit business, the person doesn't even have anything to do with their personal financial stuff. Doesn't have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, especially if it's nonprofit.
Yeah, but then the part that gets me a little bit too is then when you go down to if one does not perform search and validate persons and entities to be compliant, said employee can be fined $5,000 per offense in jail time.
Similar to the Maryland real estate agent for recommending a contractor or mortgage broker without confirming their license.
Which is two totally separate things, because for the Maryland real estate, if correct me if I'm wrong, those are like private entity people who are doing that. For this is literally, I'm a government employee doing my job I'm supposed to do. And you're saying if I mess up on my job, I get $5,000 and go to jail, rather than, okay, we'll request the money back from the nonprofit.
Yeah, that one I didn't get. And I was like, so as an employee, I could be fined $5,000,
And go to jail.
which could be somebody's month pay.
Yeah.
Don't say nothing about being fired and jail time.
Don't say nothing about being fired.
No.
You can get a job.
You're gonna pay 5,000, and they don't say and face jail time.
That'll be your like sabbatical, and then you come back to work when you get out.
Yeah. And how you gonna pay the $5,000? You're in jail.
Thank you.
So when you come out, you're already gonna be behind a month.
Yep.
So you're gonna be behind from the giddy up.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it would prevent them from doing this, but at the same time, the checks and balances are there. Yeah, I think the better solution would be, look, they need to have their stuff together. And if it isn't, then you report it to the appropriate state agency for them to do audit, and then audit purposes or whatever, whoever that may be. I can't remember offhand, but that's just my solution.
Yeah, let the proper people do what they're supposed to do with that.
All right,
I think this is all just supportive testimony.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go through all right, this one pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
child support.
Okay. Not in child support. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. I'm guessing they all got together.
Right. Somebody owes somebody some child support money.
It might be.
In all jokes, because I don't know anyone who did this. So let me just say I'm just joking.
All right. So you want to save the recall removal for the last one?
Yeah, sure. Let's Let's that's a lot of them.
All right, so I guess we're gonna go to you. So 14 solar panels. We're gonna go to yours.
Next one?
Yeah, huh?
Is it one more? Oh no, it's one more.
Oh yeah, notice provision for planning commission. Okay, yeah, sorry about that.
That's a cool one.
That's yeah, I actually read up on that one. And she and I can't pronounce her last name. I'm just gonna say Nancy.
Certainly.
Nancy, I do remember her submitting this. I believe it was last year. And not sure why they said no.
One more down.
But what it's saying, I think what they're saying is that the planning the planning commission seems to have more power than the commissioners.
Yeah, they do.
And they're appointed. Now, although I know they're supposed to be no conflicts of interest, but at the same time, I do agree that the right to due process is not something that's well protected when it comes to Charles County. And I've seen a lot of even when you look at the Lennar situation and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Or the Williamson situation.
Yeah, Yeah. So it's something that's been that way for years. So it's not like, oh, this just popped up, which some people may say. Nobody got any developers in their pocket. I know I didn't because I got after our developer when they do what the hell they supposed to do. And I had to reach out to another commissioner so we can get stuff done in my district because we were
Oh,
being
wow.
ignored. So if I had them in my pocket, we would already had this stuff done. Done now.
What district did you have to go to?
Everyone but three. That's what I say.
I was trying to figure out a way to get you to say the name without saying
I'll
it.
be dropping them names. All right,
But
but
I mean, actually, I really like this legislation. I mean, having it so that the commission has to say, hey, everyone that the contractor or developer who put together your neighborhood, they want to close out their bond. Hey, once the commission gets notified, they have to send out the information to the people who live there, say, hey, they want to close out the bond. Here's the process you can go through to appeal. You can show up and talk about it, testify, all that. Because I mean, it's crazy that a developer can close out on their bond, wrap everything up, and then the public has no idea what happened, or the residents may not even know, and they may say, hey, I still have problems in my neighborhood. And to your earlier point on the planning commission being, what'd you say, being like they're supposed to be non-partial to just the political note
yeah,
going on, it's kind of hard for them to totally be that too when you're appointed by the same people who are in the political sphere. If I'm appointed by the commissioners, it's hard for everyone, not everyone entirely. It makes a hard situation for someone to not take into account the people who put you on, basically.
yeah, and I think just me personally, I think whenever someone appoints you somewhere, they're appointing you based on what your mind, not their mind. I want you to vote no. I don't do that, and I guess that sometimes people get ticked off at me because I'm like, well, I don't work for you. You may appointed me or whatever organization may be, but if you're asking for my opinion, I'm going to give you my opinion. And then if there's conflict, okay, what? Oh, you wanted me to say what you wanted me to say.
Right.
No. And I think and I don't know the whole makeup with the planning commission in regards to this, but what I do know is that I've seen residents get upset because they didn't feel that they were allotted enough time or a public notice to come in and voice their concerns. And it was sort of like rush.
Yeah.
And had attorneys not got involved, and every HOA, every citizen can't afford an attorney that quick.
No, you're right.
So what do you do? So I think if the commissioners are truly um doing doing right by the county, they need to hold the planning commission accountable. That's the same way that we hold every other government agency or appointed commission accountable. So I think it's a good bill. I think it's a good
Yeah,
bill.
you're exactly right. And one other thing I also added that too is it's hard to, if the planning commission is doing the wrong thing, it's almost virtually impossible for the public to really push the planning commission to do the right thing, because at the end of the day, these are just volunteers, basically. Like, these are people who, there's no way to, it would be odd to go out, like to go in front of them and protest when they feel like, you don't pick me to do this. Like, there's nothing you can do. So it's on the commissioners to hold them accountable. But the thing that also makes it hardest too is that, and I can't say that they have said this because I don't really do too much in the planning commission advocacy, but what they could say is that, well, we can't do anything because they are a separate entity from us, quote unquote, technically. So you get into that, everyone's pointing a finger at each other, but no one's actually saying, all right, cool, let's actually fix it.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think people just want them to be transparent, accountable, fair, and at least provide rationale behind your decision.
I mean,
No behind the scene meetings, and next
maybe it
thing you
shouldn't
know,
be. Maybe the planning commission honestly shouldn't be appointed people. It should be by our actual commissioners, should also make up the planning commission. That way, if it's things that happen just like Worthington, just like Lennar, and just like the new thing with I forget what it is, but they're moving like the school in the neighborhood, and that's changing up the whole thing. Things like that. If the planning commission is like, we don't really care what the public wants, but if you have it, the commissioners, you have people come out and say, hey, look, there are repercussions if you don't do right by the public, and you have a way to actually hold them accountable, especially with more important boards. Now, when it comes to like certain ones that don't really, I don't want to say don't matter, but you know what I mean, is they're not as
Well,
consequential.
I'm saying the ones that don't get the much attention.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Let the public be on that.
It'd be interesting. And I like it. All right, so we're gonna go through. So now we're gonna go to Carlos's bill.
Ooh.
Wait a minute. Let me see.
It's a lot.
Huh?
It's a lot.
Good Lord, I know you had this many.
I know, right? It's only 5.
Definitely know we disagree. Yeah, I know the one we disagree on. I purposely didn't look at all yours. Just so I can let you just summarize it.
You know, the one thing I always like about doing the public hearings for the proposals is I always feel like when I put mine up, I get a lot of people to come and like testify on my legislation, whether it's good or bad, and it's always a conversation. So I like it because at least it's moving around the political discourse of the county.
Yours are I don't think you did yours like the rest of them.
No, I didn't. I typed mine up on a Word document, did a PDF and just emailed it to them, because that form, I don't know. Okay, this is a small rant, but the form that they make you fill out on that government page is so confusing looking, and it's not user friendly at all.
Do you have to fill it out?
No, because what they openly tell you, fill out this form and submit it this way. What I do is I just type it up on a Word document, download it as a PDF, and just email it to them and say, here are my legislative proposals.
All right, so I agree with number 1.
Okay.
And wait, the only thing was solar panels. Now, the only thing I would say, unless the government can provide more cost-efficient ways to save energy besides solar panels, that would be the only way I would say, you know what? Yeah, they don't need to get it.
Yeah.
Because just because you have a solar panel on there doesn't mean that it's going to produce enough energy to save money.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on how the sun hits the panels and all that. Sometimes it can be more of a waste than anything. But what I would say is that I wouldn't say all government-owned buildings. What I would say is once it's proven, well, I wouldn't say proven, once it's determined that it will save money, then yes, it should have solar panels. But we also have to look at some of these buildings, which may be a little bit old and may not be able to support solar panels.
No, yeah. So the one thing I'll say for this one is, especially at did I put it in here? Yeah. On the second sentence, it excludes buildings that are historic or that can't even have installed. And the idea around this one was, just for the public to read it, is just making it so by 2028, all the government-owned buildings that are able to have solar on their roofs, they install it on the building's roofs. The point is, one, I get what you're saying about it may not produce as much, but if every home in the county had solar panels on it, that just collectively produces a whole lot of power that goes back to the grid, and it could be used as a way to save money overall. Now, I'm not the biggest scientist when it comes to solar panels, but overall, it's good for the environment. Also, it's good on lowering our usage on non-renewable sources of energy as well. Plus, it's a good kind of thing for the county to do, especially as I think Maryland moved their window to make us carbon neutral or something for it or something. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I knew that progressive was gonna come out, so it came out.
That's what all of this is. You know what? This is the fun note. Did you watch the hearing?
I looked at some of it, not all of it.
I wasn't directly called, but I was called a socialist.
Wow. Somebody attacked you and called you a socialist?
Yeah. I mean, that's not an attack in my book. Like
Oh,
I told them, yeah, well, after that happened, I told people, yeah, I am a socialist. We're like, dang, like y'all didn't even let me say it first. They had to say it for me.
oh.
It
Well,
was weird.
I wouldn't say you're a socialist,
Oh, well,
progressive. But I would say
okay, there
that.
we go. Okay, but
But maybe
it was weird
borderline. But
having it was weird hearing people just
speaking
being
of
capitalists.
socialists, no,
Which one?
I disagree with number two.
You do?
Yes,
I know you do.
that that they. What's your rationale for them not being able to take the vehicles outside of Canada?
Um, one, I don't see the purpose in it. One, I think we're spending money on just overall maintenance of the vehicles, you taking it back and forth, the gas of you taking it back and forth. And I I would be more sympathetic to the officers who live within the county. Fine. You live within the county and you driving around the car. I personally don't fully believe this, but I know some people believe that them just driving around puts safety out in the air.
I honestly don't see them just driving around. Most time,
I mean, a lot of them don't live in the county.
yeah. But the thing about it, most of them have vehicles at home. I wouldn't want to ride around in
But we don't know
a
if but we don't know when they go to the grocery
yeah,
store. Are
but
they
you could
driving your car?
but what you could also do, you can do I call it a FOIA request where you can request the mileage of a particular vehicle. I just don't see it. My thing is, if there's an emergency and I live out of county and I need to come in, I'm not going to be able to speed through Virginia in my regular car. I'm gonna get stopped or whatever it may be. And I think as long as they have enough vehicles, then they should be able to take them home. That's just me. PG County doesn't have. I don't think they have a lot of vehicles. But we can agree and disagree on that one. I don't think this one's gonna fly.
I don't see it moving forward. So it's like, hey,
No.
I think it's and I don't even know how much money totally it would save. This is one of those things like I heard about it. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Okay, let's see if we can do something about it or just raise the public notice about it. This one got a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, I did catch part of this. There was some summarize this for us.
I'll summarize this for
yeah.
everything. I actually changed it during
The rent stabilization.
Yes. So what this proposal would do, it would basically cap the property owner's ability to raise rent for someone either renewing their lease or signing a new lease. Meaning if you're already a resident and let's say the property owner says, instead of me just renewing your current lease, I want to write a whole new lease out for you, that's still covered under the rent stabilization. So it would what I changed it to is capping it at 3% or the rate of inflation, whichever one is lower. And then it has subsequent ways to that a renter can seek help if the property owner is found raising the rent above the caps. They can withhold money, require the property owner to pay back the difference of what they actually overpaid. So I'll give you the gist of it and let you know. Also, this is something that Prince George's County has put in place. This is something Montgomery County is looking at putting in place. Mount Rainier has also put in place, and also Laurel has been looking at, and there's been a lot of push at putting it in place there as well.
All right. So what do you say to apartment complexes that raise their rent?
I say that
they can raise as much as they want to raise it, right?
Yeah, I say that they shouldn't be able to do that either. They would be covered.
But see, but this one, they would be covered under apartment complexes or just individual homeowners who rent their houses out.
Oh no, this would be for all like property owner. If it's a company that owns an apartment complex, if they own a house, if it's a person that owns a whole building or a house, it's for any type of rent, any residential rental property.
Now I'm playing devil's advocate.
No, yeah.
Okay. So why would you penalize me as a homeowner if I have the ability to raise the rent because of the market? Why would you penalize me?
I wouldn't say I'm penalizing you as a homeowner, what I would say is I am making it so that you are not able to price gouge renters who
Okay. All right.
are
I
living day
get
to
that.
day.
I get
Yeah,
that. Okay. Okay.
yeah. I mean,
I
it's
get that.
and it was funny because actually one of the commissioners, our commissioner actually, one of their things were how they do rent out homes and how they haven't raised their rent in a long time, but they don't feel like the government should tell a property owner that they should be able to raise how much they can raise their
Well,
rent.
shoot, they telling us whether we can drink out of a paper or a plastic straw
Yeah, they tell you how much you pay in taxes.
for my
They
damn
tell you,
milkshake. You know
yeah,
how
they
hard it
have
is
safety
to have
regulations.
a
Like
milkshake through a paper straw. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
exactly. No, 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 you're right. It's like we have so many regulations. We have regulations on how that apartments all have to have heat in them. That cars have
WCD.
to have heat.
WCD was
Yeah,
you told property owners what they can do with their property.
yeah. So the fact that you
Yeah,
have a
you know what? That's actually a good comparison. WCD, you told them what they can do with their property. Now you don't want to tell them because it hurts their pockets.
yeah, and which is crazy to me because in my mind, look, the government is not this a rent stabilization is not the government coming in and say, oh, you can't make money. What we're saying is the people who you rent out your property to, you cannot treat them as just a customer in a store to a certain point because housing housing is different in my view than just a regular business owner. I understand that as a property owner who rents out property, you are using it as your own personal business. The problem is that your business also determines someone's livelihood. And you could be talking about people with family and children having their rent raised $400.
Yeah,
And if that happens twice, that's $800. Sometimes that's half of what you started out paying rent as.
yeah, and typically with a mortgage, you have a fixed rate. You pretty much know what your mortgage is going to be for the life of the loan.
Yeah.
And with so if I don't get a raise, but you raise the rent,
Which most
I'm
people
gonna
don't.
I'm gonna lose money.
Yeah.
The renter is gonna they're gonna fall more in debt.
Yeah. And
So
and the thing that got that
now this is what I will say. Let's say for instance, and I it could be an amendment to the proposal.
Mhm.
If a resident, if they get like a $20,000 raise and they're still renting at that price, could does the property owner have the right to raise the rent based on your
in
raise?
my in my opinion, I don't think so because one that would make a crazy system that now the government has to go or the property owner or the government they need to see the tax statements of the person to see how much money they're
Well,
getting,
they
which
see that to a degree anyways when they do the credit check,
yeah, but which
but they don't do that
that
every
would be a
year.
crazy
They do it
mix.
one time. Yeah, they do it one time.
Yeah, but then also on top of that too is just because me as a renter, I got a raise, that doesn't mean the cost of you running the house has gone up either. Like my thing is that with this bill is when someone rents out a property, 10 out of 10, they're not going to rent it out when they start as a loss to themselves. They're going to rent it out at a profit. So if you're just saying, hey, we're just going to cap at how much you can raise it, just because the renter makes 5,000, you're still going to make a profit. Either way, there's not going to be an instance that the cost of doing business goes up so much that oh my gosh, I'm not making anything because you see areas that have rent stabilization or some form of rent control. It's still people renting out properties there because people are still making a profit.
Well, we're gonna agree to disagree on this one. For the sake of time, let me see. Natural gas ban
That's an easy one. Like
for new buildings. For new buildings.
new. So everything that's still on the books, if you've gone to the planning commission, the crazy planning commission, and gotten a neighborhood approved, that's fine. But once the bill goes into or starting 2024, it has to involve all the homes or wherever or businesses, whatever,
What
not using natural gas as a source of heat.
So what county in the state of Maryland currently has no natural gas? for new development.
I don't think any county. Maybe Montgomery has Montgomery. No, I think Montgomery's either look. I think they could be looking at like the whole stove thing, the whole like banning stoves, gas stoves in new houses.
Yeah, I don't think this one's gonna fly this year.
I don't think this is going through either. It was weird. Like this was
No.
weird. I think
For new development because
I think I think it's a positive thing. It gets
no,
us
I'm
off.
not. It
Yeah.
all to me. I think it all really depends on where you live at. If we've had issues, gas is cheaper. Some people like some people like to cook natural gas, like myself.
I get that. I get that. But then I also say like I've never seen a house not using gas explode from using gas. Like it's also dangerous in it with it, but it's also like I feel like this is the same like the like seatbelt issue back in the day. People like I don't want to wear a seatbelt. I don't want to wear a seatbelt. You just need enough people wearing a seatbelt that's gonna be all right. Who cares? I'll just wear a stupid seatbelt. But one thing going back to the solar panel one, I just remembered it. It was during the hearing. Commissioner Bowling actually said something that got to me where he kind of hinted at he doesn't know about the government doing it on their buildings, but what about future developments being built, making them put it on all new buildings? And I kind of like the idea of, and I proposed, hey, what about like a solar panel mandate on new buildings?
I disagree with it only because everyone doesn't want solar panels. And remember, some of the insurance companies will void your roof warranty based on that, unless those solar panel companies have a warrant like mine. My roof is covered under my solar panel company. That's the only way I would have signed that contract. 20 years, because my roof insurance with my insurance carrier was void because of that. So that you have to look into that as well.
So I wonder how that would work if the developer was the one who put it on all of them. How does that work then?
That I don't know, but I don't know. But it would be a monopoly, meaning that there's going to be some solar company that's going to make a profit off of this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they are big time. So an AC mandate, long and short, I agree. And only because, we saw what happened, I believe, last summer. And, if you're paying rent, everything should be working. And if it isn't working, I shouldn't have to pay the full rent.
Yeah. I mean, and this one actually goes further than that too. What this would make it is just that every rental property has to have air conditioning. So if you live somewhere and when you started renting, it didn't have it. If this bill went into effect, the property owner has to install it in, whether it be throughout the whole building through like central, or whether it be through individual units, or window units. And in my mind, it's as simple as we mandate that people have to have heat. How do we not mandate people have to have air conditioning? And for the fact that you had just not just elected officials, but also citizens, like residents, talking about how if you decided to rent the house or rent that piece of property and you knew it didn't have air conditioning, that's on you. I'm like, that's like saying that I bought a car that I knew it had a faulty part and it's on me if I just get into a car accident. It's kind of like I don't care about people having basic essentials to make sure that they can live a proper life. It's, to me, air conditioning isn't an option to have or not.
It all depends on where you live at. You live in Germany, everybody don't have AC. Say that right now, because it doesn't typically get hot. But but think about it. It's a socialist, quote unquote, socialist country. Everybody don't have AC.
That's bad to me. That is bad to me. To me,
don't go to Germany in the summer.
To me, AC is a few steps below as far as essential as indoor plumbing is. And I think that for our county not having indoor plumbing in every house, and we're the wealthiest Black county in the country, I think that is crazy.
Yeah, but some of those don't necessarily have anything to do with the county. If you have a person who is a deed to the house, you got to get permission from there. But that's a whole different conversation.
It is a whole different. If the county wanted to do it, in my mind, they would figure out a way.
Look, we got about 6 minutes or so.
Dang, you run short.
Yeah, we got about 6 minutes or so because we spent too long on the rent stabilization. So the last thing we're gonna address is I'm just gonna lump it all in one thing:
It is one
recall,
thing.
impeachment, removal of a board member. Now, we all know why this is coming about. This is my issue with it. We've had commissioners not show up to meetings, been at meetings and at work at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't recall ever having them come up. So
No.
I agree that if you violate something, as far as workplace environment, there's still a process. Most people don't get immediately fired. They get reprimand. They get like 3 warnings, whatever it is. I don't know if people just immediately fired for not breaking the law. Difference, not breaking the law. And in these cases that I see, it's all stemming, and it's stemming around one person. That's, even if it's passed, it's not going to affect this person.
No.
So,
I mean,
the question I asked to those who have this much vigor, where was this vigor when you had commissioners meeting meetings? I call it double dipping. Where's it at?
Yeah. The one thing I'll say about this is that I guess I was a little surprised that in these proposals, it wasn't a specific, like, here's the proposal for how to recall someone should be done. It was kind of like putting kind of some kind of like options in there, or like asking generally like staff to come up with the way. Me personally, I disagree with you there a little bit. I don't think that to recall someone or to have a special election for an office, you should have to, like, it should be a certain like rules that they have to break. I feel like it's the same way that we put that the public can put an ordinance up on the ballot. It should be, if you get 20% or 20 to 30% of the residents of someone's district who sign a petition saying, I don't want this person in office, it should kick in a special election. Then it's like, hey, if you did the work to get that many people.
I can see it from that point where the recall, but that's going to take a lot of legwork. And this is the thing: who gets involved in the recall? I don't think any of the commissioners should be involved in the recall.
Wow.
Meaning that they shouldn't have anything to do with the process of getting the recall together.
I don't agree with that.
That's just me. Because now you're spending all your energy working on recall when we should be working on, the business of Charles County.
See, but I feel like that's like, those two things aren't mutually exclusive. And I think that's kind of the problem that I also hear from like some people talking about wanting the commissioners to do more. And they say, well, they're focused on this issue that the lawsuit and stuff. They can walk and chew gum at the same time. Just like how if you have a commissioner who's rallying around,
this a part-time position.
No, you're right. But that's where it's up to the public to say, hey, look, you signed up for this job. We voted for you. You didn't just walk in because the chair was empty. So I'm gonna push everything at you. And I mean, if you have time, also here's my thing too. They have all the time in the world to go to events. So it's not like saying, now I want you to do work and go to events and all the other stuff that you do personally is a lot to ask. So yeah, I feel like it should be, if Commissioner X wants to go out there and get petition signatures to recall Commissioner Y, I don't care. If you're doing your job, I don't care.
Well, see, this is and just some, the recall I don't disagree with. I think to remove somebody, and remember that you have ongoing investigations. Let's call it what it is. I haven't seen everything. You haven't seen everything. The facts aren't there. And you have people that, like, when I look at this one right here, works for the school system, listed people by name.
Yeah.
The proposal would never go through with someone's name on it. It just wouldn't.
This to me was a resident who was just upset.
No, this is actually the treasurer of one of the commissioners. Well, that I can tell you. But the thing that gets me, the cost.
Wait, who did this?
The cost.
Oh, okay.
But the cost $500,000. No, it's costing $500,000 and more because certain commissioners didn't let a grown ass man defend himself. And think about it. If it was that blatant, that just in your face, why not file EOC complaint? Why not?
Yeah, what I'll say to the whole thing is that I don't think that there needs to be a particular reason for anyone to start the process to, I guess, remove an elected official.
Oh, no, I agree. Yeah. I agree. But taxpayers shouldn't be paying the bill for someone that can defend themselves.
I don't have a disagreement with you on that. I mean,
it's probably close to $1 million. And as a taxpayer, I'm pissed. And they could stop it just like that.
Yeah.
You know what we could have did with $1 million?
Fund a lot of these projects that a lot of us have been talking about. They keep saying they want to do.
Yeah. We could have got very simple things in Waldorf that are lacking. We could have a basketball court, skateboard court. Just something.
A dirt bike area.
Bike area. But yet we spending $1 million for a $55,000 or $50,000 job. Think about it.
It is crazy when you say
think about
it. It is crazy. I mean,
I really want you to think about it. And so look, this may get me in trouble. Well, actually, it ain't gonna get me no legal trouble. People may say, "Oh, you got to get off this particular board." It is what it is. But my thing is, look, I'm speaking as a taxpayer. There is no reason why we should be spending this much money on a $55,000 job where a grown-ass man could have filed his own complaint with the EOC for free, and let them handle it.
Oh, wow.
And let them handle it. If you had that much evidence.
Yeah.
But instead, we paying for it. So when this person said the cost $500,000, no, it's costing because the person you're supporting, in addition to the other commissioner, they're the ones that put this price tag on here. So if you want to blame somebody, blame them for us paying this money. Yeah, I said it. Deal with it.
Ooh. Won't name a name, but everybody knows the name.
You're more than welcome to be on the show. More than welcome. I'm civil.
I would love to actually see that.
No, but I'm civil. My thing is, if I'm wrong, come on here and we can have a discussion about it.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, and going back to like the legislative proposals, reasoning behind it as well. Like I hope in the names of charter board has been selected, but I hope that.
Did you get on there?
No, I didn't get it.
What?
No, I didn't. Well, I know.
We know why that happened.
You need to tell me because I don't know why.
No, I really don't. Be honest with you,
I don't know either. I don't know. So
when I looked at it, most of the people I didn't recognize. Like I recognized like 1, 2, like let me see.
I
recognize like 3 names, maybe like 3 names. The rest of them I have no idea who they are.
Yeah, one's elected currently, which yeah.
So that was, but at the end of the day, we still can't get no District 1 seat filled.
Yeah,
because they're too busy.
Mm-hmm. We got a lot of time.
I'm not blaming her. We're just saying in general.
No, you're right. But what also is the whole thing about it is like I hope in the charter board that they create a process for people to recall elected officials, and that there's a because and my thing is to with the whole lawsuit, all the issue, I feel like the public would have been a lot happier if everyone just would have known about this beforehand, and so everyone could it could be just a part of the normal, hey, look, here's what's going on. Let's just be transparent.
Well, in my opinion, this bill is a waste of time and a waste of energy, only because, like you said, we have the charter board that's working on something. Even if this was to go through, it's not going to affect the person that they're trying to get rid of.
I mean, it could.
How? You got the election coming up. So how?
It would only work if the way I understand it is if my suggestion of making it so the residents just have to get petition signatures.
That's a recall. That's different. That's different.
No,
what I'm saying is,
what are you saying?
The remember, there's recall, and then there's somewhere you just get rid of.
See, I don't agree with the just getting rid of someone.
Because so that one is
I
the
agree with the whole
recall. It
election
is what it
process part of
is.
it. Yeah.
But the thing about it, the election is 2024, right?
No, for them it's 2026.
So it is.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I thought it was 2024. Oh, you know what? I'm thinking something. Thinking
It's
something.
about presidential stuff.
Yeah, thinking president.
Which
My mind is.
that's gonna be a lot too that
Yeah,
you gotta cover with
yeah,
Senate,
yeah,
Congress, maybe. Who knows what
yeah,
Hoyer's doing?
yeah. But my thing is, when I read through these, most of them are centered around one person. Fine, people have that right, but I like to see that same. I would have liked to see that same vigor years ago when people weren't at meetings or they were at two meetings at the same time.
Yeah.
And for a person to say right is right, wrong is wrong, I'm gonna address that in my next episode.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's a cool little sneak peek. I like that.
yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna be preaching and I want you keep this in mind. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Right is right and wrong is wrong.
But hey, we about 6 minutes over, but we're gonna go ahead and stop right here. Hey, Carlos, man, it's been a pleasure. You definitely educated me on a couple things, and
Thank you, thank you.
hopefully we've educated the public on a couple things when it comes to these proposals.
Hopefully.
And one of the things we just encourage the public to get involved in the process. That's really the big thing because elections have consequences, and you can't cry about something that already happened.
No.
Try to stop it before it happens. And then if it happens, you know who to blame. Once they end, they end. And that's my thing. So
And once they're in, it's the time to push as far as you can to get whatever policies, positions, things that you want from them. And that's what I've always told people is that like you said, get involved and keep pushing. And remember, hey, elections happen every 4 years. Make sure you take a note of what every politician did, and then you go inform people.
But what I also want you to remember is that you're not gonna get everything.
No,
you're just not.
Maybe,
See, and you live in a fantasy world if you think that you're gonna get everything. It'd be nice, but I know that you're not. But at least you find that common ground. And my thing is, regardless of who the elected official is, for the most part, I can find a common ground with most of them. Some, they always perfect. What can I do? But I will say, in some cases, we have agreed.
Okay, that's good.
But we're gonna end it with that. But hey, Carlos, I definitely appreciate you being on the second episode of season 8 of I'm Not Complaining, I'm Just Saying, where we're gonna complain, bring solutions to the table. So we address some of the solutions, and hopefully people can take this back with them. And I think June 2nd is the last day to discuss something about these proposals or public comment or whatever it may be. I believe it's June 2nd.
I'm not sure, but people please go and submit comments.
Yeah,
especially if it's positive, submit them for mine. If they're negative, stay home.
Yeah, and I'll put the link. I'll put the link up here for people to look at. I mean, to go, and if they need to comment. But with that, we're gonna call it a night. And any last words?
Advocate. I don't know.
All right. And remember what I said. Look, remember what we said. It costs nothing to be kind, but time. Peace and blessings.
Not even that. Not even that much time.
Peace and blessings.